Jabba no bother.
I just recently published a Jabba's Palace roll call video about Bib Fortuna, where I cover the creation of his character for Return of the Jedi, as well as his other appearances and all of the merchandise that has been created for the character over the years. I highly suggest you check it out, although it did end up being just a little bit long.
I'm terribly sorry. I'm afraid he's ever so stubborn about these sort of things.
No chop!
In that video, I introduced a number of concept sketches that various artists did as they were trying to figure out what Bib Fortuna would look like. They're all very interesting, but none of them look that much like the Bib Fortuna we saw on screen. This one on the left, by the way, is by Ralph McQuarrie, and a few years ago, Regal Robot actually used that as the basis for making a life-size bust, which I think is extremely cool. This was commissioned by an ardent fan who liked this particular version of the character. So Regal Robot does have some experience working with concept versions of Bib Fortuna, which brings us to the topic of today's video. This concept maquette was created by Phil Tippett and was later used as the basis for the design of the Bib Fortuna character. Here you can see Nick Dudman sculpting the full-sized mask that they used in the film based on this maquette. This general design for the Twi'lek species would be used in many Star Wars media later on, although if you look at other Twi'leks compared to Bib, you may notice something, and that is that he's not the most attractive guy in the world. For a long time, the fan explanation for that was that there was dimorphism in the Twi'lek species, so females looked different than males, but all of the males that we've seen subsequently have been fairly attractive, and I think we have to just draw the conclusion that Bib is an ugly guy. Well, actually, there is one male Twi'lek that is perhaps uglier than Bib, and that is Bib Fortuna from Rogue One. He appeared briefly in Saw Gerrera's hideout there. Beezer is actually canonically supposed to be Bib's cousin, and beyond that, they actually based his design on the concept maquette from Return of the Jedi. So if you compare them, I think you can tell how the head tentacles are both quite thin on the maquette and on Beezer, and he even has the stripes that you can see if you look closely at the maquette. In fact, why don't we take this opportunity to look closely at Regal Robot's replica of that maquette. The first thing that struck me when I got this was that it's actually quite large for one of these maquettes. Compared to some of the other ones in the line, it stands quite tall, and it also has a nice bright color scheme compared to a few of the other ones that are a bit more subdued with earth tones. He's got a bright red shirt he's wearing, pink skin, and then these kind of light blue accents. I think it looks really cool in person. One thing I like to do when I get one of these pieces is to sort of compare it to the final design we saw in the film and see what's different and see what was the same, see how it evolved throughout the production process. Here you can see that the basic design for Bib was there from the very beginning with his head tentacles, misshapen head, and other details, but they hadn't quite gotten his outfit figured out yet, and a couple of his most distinguishing features, his red or orange eyes and his sharpened teeth, are not present at all. And as I mentioned before, he's got stripes on his head tentacles and upper arms here, which is a detail that did not make it to the final costume. But I was really interested to see that because, first of all, I didn't really know about that until I had gotten this maquette in hand. But it also really reminded me of when I got the concept maquette replica for Jabba from Regal Robot. This has stripes along Jabba's body as well, although they're slightly different in style. These are a bit more geometric, I suppose you'd say, as opposed to the almost tiger-like stripes on Bib Fortuna's body. Anyway, these were both sculpted by Phil Tippett, and I can't help but think that these stripes are related in some way. I think the coolest thing about these maquettes from Regal Robot is that they actually involve the artists who created the maquettes in the first place. In this case, Phil Tippett, and of course, as you are probably aware, Phil Tippett was the head of the creature shop on Return of the Jedi and responsible for creating many of the iconic creatures that we saw in the film. Now this replica is divided into two different editions. The first is the Signature Edition, which is limited to 100 pieces and will include a signed plaque by Phil Tippett. And of course that is very cool in and of itself, but they've even gone one step further to create the Legacy Edition, which includes one unique sketch by Phil Tippett, created especially for this product. This will be limited to just 83 pieces, and as I say, each one of them will include a unique piece of artwork. I decided to go with the Legacy Edition, and that's what I'm going to show you right now. The Maquette itself is the same for both editions, but with the Legacy Edition you get this frame that combines the signed metal plaque and the unique piece of artwork that you get. This is the one that I received. I think this artwork is really good. It's got a kind of dynamism to it. It really seems to represent the character very well to me. And of course the plaque as well, with Mr. Tippett's inimitable signature. I've been really impressed with each of these Legacy Edition pieces that I've gotten. I find that the plaque really adds a little something extra when you have it on display next to the Maquette, as you see here. In my case, I have one part of one display case dedicated to these Maquettes, and I've managed to fit them all in somehow. But I'm definitely looking to expand it in the future so that I can give them the space they really deserve. But I really think, even displayed like this, they look amazing. As I mentioned earlier, Bib's size and color really make him stand out compared to some of the other pieces in the archive collection. I love them all, but I think maybe this trio over here on the right of Jabba, the Rancor, and Bib Fortuna are my favorites. This is going up for pre-order at noon Eastern Standard Time on June 25th, so it should be available for pre-order as you watch this. I'll put a link in the video description. The Signature Edition is $3.99 and limited to 100 pieces, and the Legacy Edition is $6.99 and limited to just 83 pieces. I'm told they also have a payment plan if you'd like to use that as well. Thanks very much for watching, and thanks also to Regal Robot for making such a cool line of statues. I've really enjoyed collecting these over the last couple years, and I can't wait to see what they're going to come up with next. And of course I can't forget to thank all of you who support me over on Patreon, including these Palace VIPs, Angelica Brady, and Jesper Mertu. I really do appreciate your support. If you'd like to support the channel for as little as $1 a month, you can click the link in the video description.